on film about the defensive effort against Portland and Dame, and then how much of that can apply to Steph and the way that Golden State plays around him?
Yeah, they're very similar, but not the same. But we definitely had some some positive sequences in terms of how to bring double teams to Dame without getting burned on the backside. And hopefully we have some carryover from the post game film session yesterday. Cleaning some of the things up that we did well and need to improve on, and hopefully we see some of that tonight.
Frank, you guys had controlled much of the game on Martin Luther King Jr. Day against Golden State until that fourth quarter. What did you notice about the breakdown in the final 10 minutes or so, and how does that apply to tonight's game?
Yeah, we could have done some things differently on both sides of the ball. We didn't stay in attack mode when we had that lead, not just in the fourth, but earlier in the game, second and third quarter. And we didn't respect their defense. To be honest with you, they're great with their hands. They're great at forcing turnovers, and we didn't do a good enough job handling that.
You just mentioned the Warriors' defense. They're up to fourth in defensive efficiency. Frank, what have you noticed about them, and as they've gotten better as the season has gone on?
Yeah, well, they have a lot of length and athleticism around Steph. And obviously Steph has his way of impacting the game on that side with charges and steals and whatnot. And obviously they're very well coached. They have a championship culture, and that always comes with honoring that side of the ball. So they've got a lot of defensive talent and in a great scheme.
Dave.
Frank, Steph came into the league in 2009, 2010. The following year was your first time being a head coach. How has his impact, how have you felt it in terms of how you play or develop, how you scheme, the type of players that you look for? Because you guys, your careers have kind of coincided.
Well, Steph changed the game. That's the simplest way to put it. He changed everything. The whole mindset of offensively, what good shot selection means. I think he changed, broke that mold entirely, and made it a good shot, to rise up, off of screens, but also to shoot with range when you have that type of ability. And just I think that's the main thing. But with the way they played with the movement and playing without bigs or playing Draymond at the five. I think their whole culture and style of play, helped transition the league into what we know as a modern NBA with a lot of three-point shooting and whatnot. So, I think Steph deserves a lot of credit for that.
Kyle?
Hey, Frank. I know that the last time you played the Warriors in many respects feels like a million years ago, but is there any aspect of your pregame that said, hey, last time out, like we gave up a huge lead on our home floor, like let's show something different this time? Is there any aspect to your pregame that touches on that?
Well, they stole one from us here. So, obviously we want to get them back for it. Other than that, it's focused on what we have to do to get a win. But we did talk about already the fact that they stole one from us last time we were here.
Dan?
Yes.
Hey, Frank. I don't think we've talked to you about at least not in depth, about the decision to go with Markieff instead of Kyle, assuming that, are you guys doing that again tonight?
We are.
Okay. What went into that decision? And then Kyle, at least offensively, scoring, has struggled these last two games coming off the bench. How has he kind of handled this sort of yo-yoing of in and out of that lineup this year?
Yeah, well, Kyle's role, he knows his role doesn't change whether he starts or coming off the bench. We want him to be aggressive scoring the ball, crashing, but also more importantly than aggressive scoring, aggressive reading. We want him to be in attack mode and take good shots, just like everybody else on the team. But his role doesn't change whether he starts or comes off the bench. And, one of the things, a couple of games ago when we first did it is we wanted to introduce a 10th man into the rotation. And, that night it was Jared Dudley. And to get Jared Dudley in there, we didn't like playing him and Keith together. So as simple as just putting Keith in the starting lineup so we can introduce a 10th man into the rotation, to lighten the load on some of the guys that have played heavy minutes against, in the overtime game prior. I like what Keith brings to the table. I mean, when Anthony went down, our first look was, to play with Kuz in there and Braun sort of defending the 4-man. And we didn't get off to a good start. We had lost three in a row and 4 out of 5. So, wanted to look at this stretch of games to see Keith in the starting lineup.
Okay, we'll take 3 more. Alan?
Hey, Coach, just curious on the second half, the way you guys play defense against Portland, how much does that typically fuel the offensive side? And is that very normal? Typically when you have a good defensive half or a good defensive game, it fuels on the offensive side as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Both sides impact the other, but when we're defending at a high level, and getting stops without fouling, we can get out in the open court and run, and when we're running, we get a few more easy buckets. There's less pressure, on guys to make shots, in the half court, when we're struggling offensively, and, everything opens up, so, since I've been here the last 2 years, we've had that emphasis on the defensive side of the ball, and when we defend like that, really opens things up for us offensively.
Andy?
Hey, Frank. Talen's now been in the rotation long enough that he's at a place where he's going to be on scouting reports. Teams are really going to be accounting for him, and that's always an interesting part of a young player's development. What have you guys talked with him about in terms of that process, how to go about adjusting for teams keying on him more?
Yeah, I mean, we noticed that, obviously they're bringing more help when he gets to the basket. They're trying to run under screens with him because they're concerned about his threat getting downhill. And, we work with him on the counters, to those types of things. I don't think it's more complicated than that, but, he's definitely given us some quality minutes this year.
Last question, Maria?
Hi, Coach. Hope you're well. On a game like this one, what is especially important that your guys carry over from the last few games you've played? And what is one adjustment you have had to make game planning for this rematch against the Warriors?
Yeah, well, I think the carryover from last game of how we defended Dame, and what we were able to do in the second half needs to carry over into this game. That's I think the biggest thing. And then the adjustments from the last time we played the Warriors, I think we just have to be better at taking care of the basketball. They turned us over too many times and stole the ball from us, and we have to be better keeping our turnovers low.
Thanks so much, Coach.
All right.
Right.